when I was about 9 or 10 years old, my parents started to have a rocky divorce, and my dad stepped out of my life at the age of 10 in a way that was it was just a wedge was driven between the two of us. I was defending my mom and what I thought was my mom's innocence against my father, which I thought was the guilty one, and it drove a wedge between the two of us. And it was just pretty irreparable for a long period of time. And so I didn't have an active father figure from the age of 10 up. And when boys are having their fathers come to their football games, I didn't have that for myself. And at church, when the fathers are the ones leading the mission trips to Mexico, my father's not there leading the mission trip to Mexico. I'm the one kid who doesn't have a father there when all those other kids on my church had their fathers literally with us. And I remember specifically on one mission trip to Mexico, really struggling with same sex attraction and feeling helpless and hopeless about it. And I actually left the entire group of kids who were worshiping to go out into a field all by myself and kind of just like scream at God and be like, why is this part of my identity, but other people don't seem to be dealing with this? I felt so alone. I felt like I couldn't talk about it and I didn't know what to do with these feelings? Um, and in this season of my life, my mom had put me into sort of like the ex-gay therapy thing that you would hear kids about going into. Like I was in a support group with other kids as a high school student, and people are talking about their experiences with it. And that made me feel like I had some ugly problem that I didn't want. And I just wanted to feel like a normal high school kid playing football and going to, you know, prom and whatnot. I didn't wanna feel like and it didn't fix it. It In fact, we called my father in on one of these, meetings, and I just read a letter to all the ways that he'd hurt me, and I kinda pointed the finger at him like, "You're the reason I'm this way," and then I just got angry at him, and it just drove us further apart
Mm,
for more years. So it didn't really heal that w
sure. Yeah, and so you realized you had same-sex attraction, and then you shared that with your mom to begin
Yeah.
with?
Yeah, the first person I confided that in was with my mom, and it was sometime in my memory, like, early middle school. I think in early middle school is when I realized it was even existing, so 6th grade, for example, and I remember my mom's response was kind of like when you told your mom you stole something, and she's like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," and when I shared that information and her response was, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," I started to retreat, and instead of being more honest and more talkative, I started saying, "Oh, that's not okay. I shouldn't talk about this." And I just retreated. And then I didn't have anyone to talk to because my mom was my safest person. My friends were not safe. My siblings were not really safe, but my mom was my safest person. And I couldn't tell her what I was going through. So I just started to internalize it.